Good morning, team. It is Tuesday, October 12th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Amy Kaur, and I'm joined by Kevin Van Eck, and we are live out of the Goose Island office. So yesterday morning, we kicked off business planning. We had our first workshop, but today we want to take a deeper dive into your operations planning for 2022. So grab your coffee, your tea, your power smoothie, or lemon water, and let's jump into the next episode of Coffee with Amy and Kevin.
That's right, Amy. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, Amy. Good morning, everyone. Yes, we are working on our business plans, and for that, we'll need a lot of coffee, right? We're going to lay the foundation of success for 2022. So today, we are going to dig a little bit deeper. Like Amy mentioned yesterday, we went into the first session of business planning. Today, we're going to dig deeper into business operations. So with that, whether you started in the business or you're a seasoned veteran agent, this is one of the most critical pieces we have to go through in our plan to ensure success. So the three things we're going to talk about today, the first is really looking at our transaction history. We talked about it for a second yesterday. We need to determine where our business is coming from. The second thing we're going to look at and talk about today is being intentional in terms of where we're focusing our time and energy. We touched on this yesterday as well. We want to be sure that we are giving time to those actions and activities that are most productive. And the third thing we're going to look at today is scaling, really determining and planning today for what we will need in the future, knowing today what we will need in 2022 to reach our goals and get to where we want to go. We will need to scale before it's too late.
Yes, thanks, Kevin. So I want to kick off on number one, which is reviewing our transaction history to determine where you want your business to grow. And I think this is so critical. And I don't know if we always spend enough time taking a look back at what we've done to figure out if where our business is today is where we really want it to go. So if you have an opportunity, you can take a look at 2021 and see where your business is coming from. And it allows you to get insight in a couple of different ways. The first thing it allows you to take a look at is, what is my buyer to listing ratio? Am I taking mostly buyer business right now? And do I actually want to think about maybe shifting as I move forward, where I really want to focus on getting more listings? If we don't really know what our makeup is, then we don't really know how to figure out how to plan for next year. So part of the spreadsheet that we gave you, it gives you the opportunity to really look at what you did this past year and break that down into listing transactions and into buyer transactions. The second thing that you may want to actually look at when you're evaluating transaction history is, what is my average sales price? This can be really critical because you might be at an average sales price right now of, call it 200,000, but you'd like to figure out, how do I move into a slightly higher average price point, maybe 500,000. I know I've talked to some agents who talk about wanting to get into the luxury market, over $1 million. You really have to take a look at where your business is today. And if you aren't at the average price point, then you can refocus or start coming up with a plan to figure out how to move into a higher average price point. So taking a look at your transaction history can help you figure out a roadmap or a plan to move forward. The other thing that I think is so critical when you're looking at your transactions is sometimes you can actually see the business that you don't want to do. And I know that sounds crazy, because I know when I got into the business, I took everything, whether it was a rental, if it was somebody way out of my area. I wasn't in a position where I felt like I could turn business away or really refer it. But as you're looking at your business, depending on how long you have been in real estate, you might want to be a little bit more strategic about the business that you do take and the business that you choose not to take or you choose to refer out. Because let's face it, there's only one of you and only 24 hours in a day. And if you're taking business that you don't want and you don't refer it out, what's happening? You're losing the opportunity to focus on the business you really do want. So taking a look at your transactions can really help you see what you've done and start making specific decisions on how you want to refocus and move forward for success in 2022.
Yes, I love that. That tails right into number two, Amy, and being intentional about where we're focusing our energy so we can accomplish growth in our business, right? So you've got this transaction list that Amy talked about in number one, where you determine the area and price point where your business exists. Now we're going to look at where we actually want to do business and where we need to focus that time and energy. It's limited, right? So here's the jam. What we're going to do is look at where we want to work, and we're going to learn how we can get rid of everything else. Now, for example, I know that we're tempted. We are agents. We always look at the commission, the carrot at the end of the stick, and it's tough for us to give up an opportunity to make money, even if it's 50 miles west of where we normally work. So here is the opportunity to make a connection with another agent to whom you're going to refer the business. Think about this: the time you spend servicing a listing 50 miles west, or going out with a buyer, looking at homes and properties in a market we don't understand. Not only is that not great service for the client, but number two, the amount of time we spend doing that would actually be better spent doing any number of things, growing the business in the market we want to grow. Do I actually want to do more listings or business 50 miles west of my core market? Probably not. So why am I going to spend time there? So what do you replace that time and energy with? Instead of taking that listing, refer it out, get 25% and what or more, and then focus your energy in learning your market. Study the market, become a student of the market, go to Brokers Open, see the inventory, then also prospect. We spend a lot of time servicing clients that we'll never see again. We spend a lot of time servicing clients that are outside of our core market. Let's make sure that we're really focused on our database and generating referrals, because the time spent servicing that one listing that's 50 miles west, the time spent could actually generate 3 other listings in my core market if I spent that time wisely. Deepen our relationships, deepen our knowledge, and really focus on the core market you want to serve.
Yes, Kevin, that's great. And so now I want to talk about number 3, and that is scale. And that's looking at your scale and planning today for the support that you know you're going to need next year. And, as so many brokers, we always are just kind of right in the moment, but you really want to scale before you realize it's too late. So you want to look at a couple things. You've had an opportunity to look at your transactions and kind of get a sense of where things are coming from, whether you are working with a lot of buyers or you're working with a lot of sellers. You are also going to start figuring out where I do want to focus moving forward into 2022. But what I also want you to think about is, let's say you're thinking about increasing your business by 50% next year. I want you to ask yourself today, can I do 50% more business completely on my own? And maybe this year you got by. I know when speaking with so many of you, you were exhausted because this market was so busy. Now imagine increasing that busyness by 50%. Will you be able to handle it? Odds are the answer might be no. So instead of waiting until you're in the middle of it and drowning, why not think about today how you can plan for scaling so that when you are that busy, you have the support you need. And this is true for agents who have been in the business for a year to seasoned veterans. It doesn't matter, because you just need to take a look at where and when will I need some support and create that infrastructure and create those relationships right now. And for some of you, you might think, I can't hire an administrative assistant or somebody, to help me with the back end of my business. That's okay. Maybe even starting a lot simpler. Maybe you can start with, evaluating some of the agents in your office that maybe are not as busy as you are and might be interested in supporting you, and you can pay them on an hourly basis to help with some of your back end transaction processing. That's something that some agents out there might be interested in. The other thing you can look at is, are there agents that I can create relationships with who might be able to assist me when I have buyer overflow or listing overflow, meaning I can't handle all of my showings and I can't handle all of my buyers and taking all of them out to look at homes. Can you create a relationship or relationships right now with other agents, again, who may not be as busy as you, who might be able to provide that additional support for you? If you have an idea of what your business is going to be like next year, you can start thinking about planting the seed and creating those relationships so that as you hit January and February, when it's going to ramp up really quickly, you already have your go-tos and you've had the conversation and they're also prepared to jump in and help you. Now, you might also be at the point, though, in your business where you do seriously need to consider hiring somebody, whether it's even part-time or full-time, consistently. And I know that that's scary, but you have to remember to ask yourself, should I be paying myself to be doing these activities, Or am I better off doing things that are revenue generating and are going to grow my business? And sometimes it is a bit of a leap of faith, but I guarantee you, if you actually set yourself up with somebody who can take off some of those tasks that are not in your best interest to do, and you start focusing on relationships, getting out in front of your sphere, spending time prospecting, I can guarantee you, you're going to be able to pay for that administrative help. You just got to believe in yourself. And then also just make sure that you're intentional and you focus. That's part of you looking at where you want to grow and what you want to do next year.
I love that, Amy. Yes. So one of the things, the hardest part is really committing to an admin, right? So a lot of times we point at other teams or people with admins and we say, yeah, but they're producing this many millions. Yeah, but how did they get there? It's because they have an admin. So it's the chicken and the egg situation, right, Amy? So hopefully this was helpful to you. We talked through operations today, the 3 things, just as a quick recap. The first was really looking at your transaction and your history for 2021 to determine where your business is coming from. Number 2 was to look at your transaction history and determine where you want to focus the energy and time that you have in 2022 to maximize your growth. And number 3 was looking at scale, building now for what you know you'll need then. So fill up your coffee. It's going to be a great Tuesday. In fact, make it a great Tuesday, and we'll see you soon.
I think I'm cutting Kevin's coffee off. I think he's had enough. Make it a great day, you guys.
You can't do that. No one can do that. Peace, everybody.